Hello and welcome. I am Dan Myers with Better Rate Mortgage, and wanted to bring in a special guest today. This is David Maldonado. He is a associate broker with Arcterra Lux in Birmingham. Really wanted to go over kind of some of the, his take for buyers, right? People looking to buy homes in today's market. So, Dave, thanks for coming in, brother. I appreciate it. I've known Dave a long time. As far as being a realtor, like kind of your upstart and your background, and why be a realtor in the first place? You know what I mean? What made you drive you to get into this position?
I come from, I grew up in Bloomfield Hills. We grew up together. Losser High School, Michigan State grad. Michigan State helmet today.
I don't know how that got there.
But after that, I did corporate IT sales with CDW. So I had a territory out west. I did that for almost 3 years.
Which has nothing to do with being a realtor.
Nothing to do with being a realtor. It was a whole different channel. I was doing corporate IT sales, so everything in the industry. So, but I have that background, which helps in the sales background. So that really developed me in my sales background. I was hitting phones. I was, working with IT directors, CFOs, CEOs, managing their budgets. And then that got over to developing. I ended up leaving there and then going to Guatemala and developing a 2-acre property on Lake Atitlan over 6 years. It was a family property. My dad purchased in the 80s, 2 acres on one of the most beautiful lakes in the world. And over there, I started 2 corporations. I was going to mass produce a condiment for the country of Guatemala. I went through all these different things, but these things helped, again, with the sales background and then developing a property. The next logical step was, coming back and becoming a realtor. So once I finished that project, I came back, got my real estate license. 3 years later, I got my broker's license, about to get my builder's license. And I also finished my MBA online in Guatemala while I was there, and I also speak Spanish. So I bring a lot to the table that an average real estate agent that gets a license in a month, and I'm sure people have different backgrounds, but I know I can bring the most to the table to help my clients and the most information.
Sure. Well, let's say, everywhere you look, right, there's realtor, there's billboards everywhere.
Yes.
Every magazine, and the newsletters and stuff, there's a realtor ad in it. There's realtors everywhere, right?
Correct.
So why, when researching, okay, I want to buy a house, I need to find a realtor. And a lot of people have realtor friends, but why come to you, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to oh, my cousin's a realtor, right? And you don't know their, I mean, okay,
cousin,
that's
their
great.
brother, their aunt,
your family and everything, they're going to take care of you. But why are you going to take care of somebody and do a better job?
Yeah, 100%. It's that my goal every time, whether with the buyers or seller, but is to give them as much information as possible, and that comes from my background, that comes from my experience through all the things I've done. And when I sit down with my clients, especially on the buy side, I want to inform them everything that's going on in the market. When we go look at properties, I want them to check out the different markets, whether it's Troy, Birmingham, Bloomfield, to see everything in the market, so I can inform them, where their price point is, where their budget is, so they're not just going out and buying a property. And that's when people really, get angry or get misinformed, and those, agents just get them in a house that they really didn't do any research on. By giving that information up front and taking them out and seeing the different markets and preparing them, knowing what their, the costs are going to be, just living costs, roof, mechanicals,
Sure.
Gutters, all the costs that are associated with the house. A lot of people don't save up the money. A lot of people, they get the funding from a mortgage, then they're like, I got to repair my roof or put a new roof on, $15,000.
Right. Well, see, and that's the thing, because, as a loan officer, when I qualify somebody on paper, right, I'm looking at what do they make, right? And I'm looking at their credit profile, and I'm looking at the very specific things to say, can you afford this? Which doesn't consist of much. I'm looking at car loans, student loans, credit cards, right? I don't factor in, can you afford the electricity bill? I don't factor in, can you afford to buy a lawnmower or pay a lawn service, right? That doesn't factor into what on my side.
What if your sewer gets backed up and it's on your property and you've got to get it, Roto-Rooter out there and you got to repair the
pipe? Happened to me a couple years ago. It was not cheap. But
it's not cheap.
Yeah, so like I said, when that's fantastic that you do that, because you're really giving them an overall like a plan for the future, right? Because what I do right now is, are you qualified to buy this home based off of what I see right now and what you make? Yes. And I'm just talking about the payment. And then, like I said, a couple of your debts, and that's it.
And that's what I think lenders on their side sometimes don't understand, because they're trying to get through the mortgage. I'm not saying you, but just lenders in the that maybe aren't educating the buyers out there, is that we do an extensive my job is to educate them on everything out there on with the house, with again, with everything that they're going to come into to have to fix in the future.
Sure.
So by preparing them, though, what you're ultimately doing is preparing them for the market. And then when they find the house, they're ready to go all in on that house. They're ready to make that move, and they're educated, rather than them making that move and they're not educated. Then later they're coming back to you going, what the heck?
Absolutely.
And that's what puts, a bad name for real estate agents or realtors in the market, is that people are just trying to make money. They're I want to help people.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
genuinely want them to put them in the best position for the rest of their life. So,
see, and that's why I like, the work that you do, because my background, before I got into mortgages, was hospitality.
Yeah.
Right. So I was private country clubs, high-end restaurants, and, those people are there to take care of the customers.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why rolling into this job worked out so well for me. Right. And then obviously the experience came crazy because just of where we are, right? We're in the mortgage capital of the country, right? We got, we got, some of the biggest lenders are all right here in the Detroit area,
BWM,
so being around it that much, people in other parts of the country, they might have some loans here and there and they might work on it. But the amount of stuff we see just because of where we are, simply as that, like we're really lucky and fortunate to have, this around us, all the time.
100%.
So you get these people prepared, you're going through, you're checking, you're, crossing your T's, dotting your I's. And that. So let's say they find something, right? I know in this market, you're seeing, a house goes up for sale on Thursday and you got a deal pending.
Oh yeah.
The following Thursday.
You could have it in a couple hours.
Well, exactly. So once you get somebody prepared, right? You get everything in a row and they go out, okay, they found a house they love. What are you doing for them to how are they making, because you're getting a ton of offers, right?
Yeah.
Quickly.
Yeah. There could be, 10 offers, 15. We just had one the other day. I think there's 12 offers. We came in, fourth or fifth, something like that. And they didn't get the property. I mean, at the end of the day, my goal is to give the information to the buyer. What is the market demand right now? And it might not be what they want. It's over asking. It's, appraisal guarantees. It's low inspection, or, I would never recommend to waive an inspection, but people do that.
Sure.
I'm using a non-refundable EMD. A lot of people don't do that. A non-refundable EMD assures the seller that hey, I'm here to stay.
So like a deposit, like you put down a deposit.
Yeah, the EMD,
right?
the earnest money deposit that people generally put down, but there's usually outs
Sure.
with your earnest money deposit. Usually there's inspection out, there's an appraisal out, and there is a financing out if you can't get financed. So, and those are in typical contracts. So by giving that non-refundable after a satisfactory inspection, or if for whatever reason the client wishes to waive the inspection after acceptance of offer, that really could help them, even if somebody has a higher offer, that you're willing to put your money where your mouth is. And that's what this market's demanding right now. And I always give my clients the options. Like if you're going to be in a home 15, 30 years, this is your forever home, and you want to go all in, you got to go all in on the property. Whatever, your best is, you got to put it out there. Because the only other options are you got to look at properties maybe been sitting 7 to 10 days that might have, not perfect for you, but you're going to be in there maybe 5-10 years. That's another option. Another option
Sure.
is to maybe you could find a lot of land. We can get a builder involved, depending your price point. That's another option. Or another option, and I tell my clients the truth, is maybe you got to wait a couple of years. You got to wait for the market to simmer down. Wait for inventory to rise back up, builders to continue building, and the prices will decrease. So it's ultimately up to them to make the decision. My goal is to give them all the information and all the different options they might have to make the best decision possible.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
See, and that's kind of what I've been telling people. I've had a few people say, well, I'm going to wait for the market to just kind of fall out. And I said, look, here's what you got right now. Okay, rates are high, but high compared to what? Like the last couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Rates are, you go back 10, 12 years ago, and you're right where we are now. So,
Yep.
that short-term memory, I want that 2.5%. Okay, we're not going to see that.
They always want a deal,
right? But nobody can predict what's going to happen. You got people out there, very, very experienced people saying, at the end of this year, it's going to crash. You got people saying that it's going to just level off.
Yeah. It's all speculation in the end.
And my thinking is, look, if you're going to wait now, you're going to wait 3 years, right? You're not going to wait 6 months or a year. It's going to be, I'm thinking 3 years from everybody. And like I said, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's where I'm guiding people. You know what I mean?
And another option is ultimately renting too, and that's another option. Hey, you could rent a couple of years if you want to, and then you get back out there, because people do get disappointed, or after you lose a few deals, it's hard to carry that same. It's frustrating for them, and I always try to be motivating. I want let's keep on going, let's go. But for them, it's that they have a family. They're trying to move on. They're trying to
absolutely
make choices, and so. Those are the options I give them, and again, it also has to do with the relationship with the agents as well. So when we're doing those deals, best and finals and things like that, is the agent a final and best agent? Are they maybe an agent you can work with to get that offer in quick and get it accepted?
Yeah.
It's all situational, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. Our job is very situational, so we try to give them as much specific information as possible about what might happen. But again, you never really know. Did somebody's mother die? Did their dog die? Are they moving? Do they have to move quick so they'll accept that first offer? You never know the situation you're getting into. And my job is to get them what they want, though. And that's my goal every time.
Well, and that's another good thing. Like we've talked before about with the rates going up. Like, I mean, we have the option, if you're shopping right now, right? You don't have to have a house. But you can, like, if, prices and rates are going up, you can lock in now for 3 months, 4 months. Which should be plenty of time to find something. Yeah. And with the way we work, I mean, I'm closing, we get things closed fast, right? We're quick.
Yeah.
Like we're not waiting, you go to some of these bigger banks out there and it takes, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Like we're trying to
close
get
it
things
right at the end. And then,
and we're like, we're trying to do this in 12, 14 business days, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 to 3, you know what I mean? So do I try to get off with the pricing and stuff? Not really, because I'm going to get done now and I'm going to get done quick.
Yeah, and
that's what I mean. And that's what this market's all about, because you got so many people, trying to get in the same home that you're trying to get into. Who's going to get the deal?
Yeah.
So that's and when working together, that's kind of how we get things done, which is great. So
and another thing is occupancy too. I mean, and these are other things. Occupancy. You can do transfer tax. There's other little tricks. Again, we present them all to the buyer, and they kind of I want them to hopefully do them all, as many as they can, but some can't. So it's ultimately their decision is theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and like you said, everybody's situation is different. You know what I mean? Like you don't walk into the doctor's office and say, "Hey, I'm sick. Give me medicine." Like the doctor's like, I got to check you out.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
let's
run some tests, which is what we do. We run the tests, right? We run the tests on their credit. We run the tests on what they make. Yeah. Everybody's different. Different types of jobs, different types of way people get paid, different. Bills in the background, different needs. So it's that we have all these different options for people is just, again, goes back to the client service.
Yeah, it's 100%
the most important thing.
Making sure that you're doing the best for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I want to switch gears on you real quick.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned Guatemala.
Yes,
right?
sir.
A lot of people
my passion,
have not been to Guatemala. Like if somebody says, I'm going to go somewhere on a vacation, they're thinking Tahiti and Bali and Mexico and all this cool stuff. Tell me about what you did in Guatemala with the Chalet Maldonado. This is very interesting.
Yes. So like I said at the beginning, is I went over to Guatemala and I ended up taking over the property. It was literally 2 acres of land through coffee fields, like out of a Narcos movie. I'm working
just dead land, just
dead land,
jungle,
2 acres
stuff.
of trees. There was no views at the time. There was nothing. And it was a shell of a house that had been built over about 15, 20 years with broken glass.
Oh, wow.
And really undeveloped, all inclined volcanic land. There was no retaining walls. All those retaining walls were built. We had to fill it in with volcanic rock. You have to level it out with dirt and bring organic in. Then you got to hand plant the grass. It was a whole process. So there's no fertile dirt in that area. So all the dirt had to be brought in. It's all volcanic land. So it was a huge process. And we used all the volcanic land to build the beds on the property. Then we filled the beds with, again, fertile dirt and organic. And over 6 years, everything was handcrafted for Mayan tradesmen. I worked with Mayan tradesmen, carpenter, metal workers, stone craftsmen. So with the volcanic rock, that's hand chiseled. That came out of the earth. They hand chiseled it into block pieces.
Wow.
And the house is built of that. Everything on the property is built of volcanic rock or handcrafted carpentry. So each piece in the house was a design I picked out, and I worked with the carpenter hands-on. It's either a mahogany, cedar, birch, all high-end woods. All the fountains on the exterior, 3 to 6 months each one. Again, with rebar, bringing all the materials in. We're in the middle of nowhere, bringing materials in,
I love it.
From the city. And this is 2010, 2011. The technology wasn't there yet. So it was really, I was driving around. I got a car. I'm driving around Guatemala. It was an adventure, and getting the corporations and the accountants and the lawyers and
the legal
everything.
stuff too, not just the physical, not just the physical work. You're doing all the legal paperwork.
Going
stuff
to
too.
the local municipality, filing the paperwork,
Wow.
talking. These are Mayan, small cities, and
Like native people.
Yeah,
basically.
native Mayan. So they speak Cachiquel, Suteil. 22 Mayan dialects throughout Guatemala.
Wow.
So that's their first language. Their second language is Spanish. My first language is English. Second language is Spanish. So it was, when I started working with them, they became my buddies. And we played soccer, and, anywhere across the world, they're friends to this day. I was just back there, and it was great seeing everybody. So.
And now this is what? Now it's
now it's on Airbnb.
It's on Airbnb.
Yeah,
and people can go stay there on this. I've seen the pictures. Amazing view of this beautiful lake.
And you have DirecTV and Wi-Fi. So
in the middle of nowhere.
So that was the whole thing when I developed it. Was to
take the kids. They need the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they need the Wi-Fi. They need the direct. You got to watch the Lions game. You got to watch the Wings. And you can look at a volcano. And
wow,
it's the coolest thing ever. Awesome. And the lake is just again. When I did it, it was pre everything. So now there's no more land. Everybody's developing now. Now all the materials are close. They're down the street. So now all the neighbors are throwing up these mega houses.
How big is yours?
It's 2,400 meters square, which is or 240 meters squared. Sorry, which is 2,500 square feet.
I mean, that's a good size house.
Yes, and it's again volcanic rock. And then the land though is 2 acres. So we have fountain area, we have fruit garden, vegetable garden.
Wow.
We have a boxing area. I do boxing, Muay Thai.
Nice.
And then we also have a private transformer, a guardiania. The water comes from the lake to a deposit that goes to the house through a purification system.
Unreal.
We have, again, a beach area. I brought in 20 meters of beach sand from the Pacific Ocean. So we have a beach where we have a fire pit and an exterior shower. And then we built another platform that's going to have a pool, jacuzzi, gym.
Nice.
And that's the final. That's the end game there. And I ran electrical to the lake. So you're literally watching Mayan fishermen. And you could be, jamming out to whatever, connected to the internet, charging your phone.
I'm getting down there one of these days.
Yeah. So, everybody check out Airbnb. It's $600 a night during the high season, $450 during the low season. And,
Amazing pictures. I wish I could be there, but just the pictures alone are blowing. Like, wow, man,
thanks, man.
It's impressive. So
it's a passion for sure.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate you coming down here. This is our little studio. So if you ever want, we'll do some more of this. You know what I mean? I want to go over some other things with you.
Yeah, definitely the sell side.
Yeah, absolutely.
All my sellers out there too. There's definitely
getting the info out there. You know what I mean? Because that's, that's the hardest thing to do is just get the info out to the masses to where it's like, look, it costs you nothing to call me and just talk about what you want to do.
Yeah, and this is the real deal. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm gonna tell you the truth, and either you want it or you don't.
Yeah.
So
love it.
And if I could give a real quick shout out to Lindsay Sundin, she's our CEO at Arterra Lux.
There you go.
So I give her a shout out, and then Vito, our owner, we just opened up another brokerage in Florida.
Nice.
So West Palm.
So a lot of business in Florida these days.
Yeah, so I'll be getting my license in Florida soon, and
there you go.
Yeah, Arterra, we're throughout Michigan as well.
Some snowbirds moving to getting that second home in Florida. They call my main here.
I appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
All right.